Hello guys, and happy No Way Home Day to me. Yes, technically it is the 18th, and I know that it came out technically like the 16th, you know, those Thursday night showings. Would you guys like to hear my fun little Spider-Man story? I was up until like 4 a.m. that night trying to get tickets, could not snag any until Saturday at 2:15 on the 18th, which is today, so I got to go see it today, so I'm really pumped. I literally just finished it a few hours ago, so I am back home reliving all of it with you. Oh my gosh, you guys, that movie was everything I wanted and more. So let's, first of all, I hope you guys are having a great day, good morning, good night, whatever time you're watching this, and I hope that you, if you haven't seen it yet, then you definitely, you know, get a chance to go. But first of all, this was what I wore to the movie theater today. I had my Andrew Garfield shirt, because he is my favorite Spider-Man from, excuse me, just Spider-Man in general, I apologize. The shirt is from Ember Cases is what I was going to say. They also have a Gwen Stacy one, I have my eye on that. You should really check them out. They have a great TikTok. She does beautiful, beautiful designs, not just Spider-Man. She does all kinds of cool Marvel ones, like they're top tier. I definitely am going to be ordering more from her. I'm so excited. But yes, if you want this one, if you're an Andrew fan like me, she also has Toby and Tom. Gwen Stacy, I believe Mary Jane is on there, and Michelle Jones. Don't quote me on that though. Go ahead and check it out for yourself. I can link it down here below for you guys that are curious. But yes, let's get into it. So as I was saying, this is kind of my fit for today. This is what I wore to the theater. We got there probably like an hour before, not because there was any particularly like long lines, just because we wanted to go look around. I haven't been to an AMC in a really, really long time. I accidentally bought the Dolby Atmos tickets, which was kind of cool. It was a really nice experience. The sound quality was A+. If you've ever been to an IMAX, it's a similar experience to that. It was great. I loved it. I liked that part of it. But yeah, let's go ahead and just I will do a brief little intro here where it is no spoilers, and then I'm going to forewarn you that spoilers will be coming in this because I'm way too excited to not include it in this video. First things first, how would I rate this movie? 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. It is definitely a movie for the fans. Yeah, I was very, very happy. There are several scenes that I will talk about in the next coming moments that were my kind of favorite callbacks to the previous Spider-Man films that really made my heart soar. And kind of as a Spider-Man fan, since he is my favorite superhero, it made me just like so happy inside to see. But yeah, so I definitely think it was 10 out of 10. It was definitely worth it. I plan on going to see it a couple more times probably, I would imagine. I loved it that much, if that gives you any indication. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm gonna forewarn you now. This is now the 3-minute mark. If you do not want any spoilers, please stop watching the video now. Please, please stop watching. I was lucky and I did not catch any before I went. I didn't go looking for them either. I wanted to be completely surprised. So if that is you and you have not seen the movie, please, please stop watching now, because I am going to be talking about some in-depth details and it will give things away. Okay, I'm gonna give you 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I've given you guys 30 seconds to click off. Now it's go time. All right, so the intro, very well done, talking about right like where we left off. That was kind of nice. I love it when the MCU does that. They just pick up right from where it started, or excuse me, from where it ended from the previous film and going into that. I thought that was great. Obviously, J. Jonah Jameson is one of my favorites. He's just, I love him so much. So the fact that he's been included obviously in the MCU is even better. Let's talk about the fact that Happy and May had kind of broken up there at the beginning. That was a funny little call out there. Moving into his apartment, or I'm sorry, condo. That was cool. I loved seeing Benedict Cumberbatch in his little, you know, kind of sweatsuit outfit, as we had seen already previously in the trailer when I did the reaction back in, I don't even remember when that was. You guys probably remember better than I do. I thought that was very good. I did love the fact that during the aspect of the spell, Peter keeps thinking about all the different people that it would impact about them not remembering who he is. And I think that's a really good call out that they make at the beginning of the movie versus the end, which we will get into. But I think that was very, they did it very well in a way that I think it kind of captured his essence as a person of oh my gosh, no, they should know, and they should know too, to the fact that it messes up the spell. Obviously, we did see in the trailer, so it was no surprise that Doc Ock, Alfred Molina, was in it, which he's great. He is actually my dad and brother's favorite villain. I myself am a Green Goblin girl at heart. She is my favorite. I am so sorry. He is my favorite. Willem Dafoe is my favorite. I like Green Goblin. He's always been my favorite villain since like I started Spider-Man when I was 9. So to see him reprise his role was really nice. I remember seeing him in the theaters way back when I first saw the first Spider-Man film back with Tobey Maguire. So it was a really nice callback to childhood there, which was what kind of the theme of this film, right? It was a lot of nostalgia that a lot of us have grown up with these Spider-Men over the years. Moving on from there, the fact that they had the, they had Electro, so Jamie Foxx, they had Sandman, they had everybody. I mean, really in the essence, we got the Sinister Five, kinda, we didn't get the Sinister Six, though technically, as we'll get into that if we talk about that end credit scene, but we're not there yet. So I thought that was good. I liked the little chambers of them kind of putting all of that together and how he is going about collecting them. I thought that was very well done. I liked the MIT call out there and how the fact that everyone in Peter's life gets affected by him in one way, shape, or form or another, and the consequences kind of that. And that's a lot, I think, for any person to have to go through. And that's kind of like who Peter is as a character, is that if you have some kind of interaction with him, he is going to have some impact on your life, whether positively or negatively. I mean, it could be in a saving life situation, or it could be in the case of MJ and Ned, the whole MIT thing. So I think that was really good. I liked the way that was handled, and it was very good. Moving on from there, basically, going into how they were going to, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. The fact that Peter wanted to help all of them, since they do technically perish. The villains, I mean, excuse me. I really liked the fact that he was trying to help them. I loved the Norman Osborn, where he was just kind of himself before he transformed back into the Goblin. I thought that was really good too. That was very well done. Willem Dafoe is an excellent actor, so the fact that they were able to transition from those two characters, not that I was ever concerned in any way, shape, or form, it was just handled very well, and I liked the way that they portrayed him in the film. Moving on from there, the fact that Doc Ock, they fixed that little chip in the back of his neck, I thought that was really well done. Obviously, it only takes that one little tweak of something, in this case, Hobgoblin, when Peter Tingle goes off and he realizes that he is indeed the person that is causing all this mass chaos, obviously resulting in May's death, which we all knew that unfortunately someone was going to have to pass away in this film. I do think a lot of people expected it to be happy. I think Aunt May made more of the logical choice, if I'm being honest, just because in the previous Spider-Man films we've seen Uncle Ben die in each of those, in Tobey's and in Andrew's. And to me, she just made the most sense. There's not to say that I won't miss her as a character. Marissa Tomei is a wonderful actress. I very, very much like her and I highly regard her. I just think that she was probably the most logical choice in this situation. I'm happy that it was not Ned or MJ. I think that would have been rough. I mean, not that May was not rough to watch, but I think it would have been even more traumatic for him as a character. Moving on from there, after all that happens, Ned and MJ trying to find him, I loved the little call out that Ned has the sling ring and that he is able to open portals since he has a little bit of magic in him, which I thought was cool. I hope they get more into that later. And my battery is flashing, so just 1 second, guys. And now we are back with a charged battery. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, moving on from there, the next thing I'm going to get into is everybody's probably favorite part of the film, which is the appearance of Andrew and then Tobey. I love the fact that it was Ned that actually did the whole scene. I am a little mad at myself because when Andrew did come on the screen, I didn't catch that it was him at first. My mom nudged me and was like, "That's Andrew," and I was like, "I don't know, I'm not sure." I couldn't see his suit. I had blinked and kind of looked down at that point, and sure enough, it was him, which Spider-Man, obviously Spider-Man's my favorite. Andrew Garfield is my favorite, so I was ecstatic to see him. I love the fact that Michelle, required proof of who he actually was, which was even funnier. Him just hanging from the ceiling was not enough for her. He needed to climb and get that cobweb for Lola, so that was cool. The fact that they connected on the fact that he was from another universe and he was trying to reach out to Tom because he realized something was up, was awesome. I love the fact that in the next sling ring we do see obviously Toby come through, and he is just wearing regular like t-shirt and jeans kind of deal, which is super chill and totally like Toby's alley. It kind of makes sense, to be honest. And you know, him saying basically, it's like, well, I don't really go around like telling people I'm Peter Parker. It's kind of, or I'm Spider-Man, you know, it kind of goes with the whole secret identity thing. I love the fact that him and Andrew both agreed that they needed to help, obviously MCU Peter, so Tom Holland, and they connected on where their favorite spots were to kind of talk about, or to get away from everyone and everything when they needed to just think and be. And obviously for Toby it was the Chrysler Building, and then for Andrew it was the Empire State Building, and then them arguing over which of you was kind of better. I thought that was really touching. And so them going and finding Tom and kind of talking through their own grief, I thought was also a really nice callback in the "with great power comes great responsibility" line, obviously. That is it is one of the greatest lines and one of my favorite quotes probably of all time, because it is extremely true. And I love the fact that Andrew talked about the fact that, you know, he lost Gwen and that was devastating for him, and he lost Ben. So I mean, you know, we often talk about the fact that Andrew's Spider-Man has had to suffer probably the most out of any of them. Toby has his fair share as well, but Andrew obviously losing Gwen, that was a very pivotal moment for his character. And kind of Toby talking about the fact that even though he found Uncle Ben's murder, it didn't really bring him any relief in the long run. I think that was really important to share with Tom, as far as, you know, those kinds of things can make or break you. It's kind of like a Punisher thing, like once you cross that line, you can't uncross that line. That's part of the reason why Spider-Man has those rules, is that he doesn't cross that moral line. That's just who he is as a person. It's kind of like that joke that they say these people won't kill you, talking about Batman and Spider-Man, but your medical bills may. So I think that's really good. It's really touching. I liked that. Moving on from there, the fact that they all worked with Tom, and the fact that they wanted to be able to cure them and work with him, I think that was great. I love the fact that, you know, Ned was wondering if there was another Ned Leeds in the universe, and Toby being like, basically, yeah, my best friend tried to murder me and then he died in my arms, so it was pretty devastating. And Ned being kind of worried about that afterwards was very funny. I love when he referenced Peter, and they're like, yeah, we're all Peter. And he was like, Parker, and he's like, yeah, we're all Peter Parker, which one are you talking about? I thought that was very well executed and done. The fact that that whole spell was contained within that kind of like, almost looked like a Rubik's Cube type box, not exactly obviously, but similar shape, and that's what it kind of reminded me of, until you would unlock it and obviously break it. I think it was really, really well done. I like the way that they kind of partnered off and teamed and thought about how they were going to go about things, and I think it was, yeah, it's just, oh, and I totally missed one of the biggest cameos, and I am literally kicking myself for not mentioning it sooner. Let's rewind like for 2 seconds. Let's talk about the fact that Matt Murdock showed up in the MCU today. I mean, well, not today, but you know, the film as I saw it today. I'm pretty sure I blacked out when he was talking because I was just so excited. I just completely blacked out. That was a really big deal for me. Obviously, we had a very lively crowd today at the theater, so there was a lot of clapping and cheering when Matt came on the screen. So obviously, Matt Murdock is played by Charlie Cox, who is aka Daredevil. Yeah, he is great. I'm so happy. I already knew Kevin Feige had already confirmed it. But yeah, it was really good seeing him on film today. I love that. I'm really excited to see what they do with him in the future, and the fact that he made a joke that he was just a really good lawyer as far as catching that brick that was thrown in through the window, so that was cool. Back to where we were with the other Spider-Man. Toby kind of talking to Andrew about, you know, his MJ in his universe, and you know, Andrew saying, well, I lost Gwen, I don't really have time for, you know, anybody else, and he's like, ah, you should put yourself out there, maybe, you know, it'll surprise you. Obviously, we never got to see The Amazing Spider-Man 3 because it was never produced, but Shailene Woodley was supposed to be playing Mary Jane Watson, so who knows what would have come about that if we had actually seen that movie. It is something that I really genuinely miss, and I think it would be great. I don't know if they would be down for doing it now, obviously. I would really like to see it though. It is one of those things that I think if they made it, I would be, I'm already a huge Spider-Man fan anyway, it would just make my day. But moving on from there, the fact that they decide to kind of work together and figure out, like, Andrew figures out Connor's serum, they figure out the inhibitor chips, they work with kind of just like all of what they know about these villains and how to take them on. I also love the fact that they do a little bit of bonding before they get there, and they're at the Statue of Liberty, you know, where everything kind of comes together, and they're talking about you know, basically things that they've encountered and they've done, and Tom makes a reference to the Avengers, and Toby and Andrew are like, what are you talking about? Is that a band? Like, who is that? I thought that was funny. I love, one of my favorite, I think, moments is when they're talking about the fact that Tom's been to space and he's fought aliens, and Toby talks about the fact that he's obviously fought Venom, who's technically an alien, obviously. And Andrew kind of just hangs his head and says, man, I'm really lame, like, compared to you guys. And then Toby looks at him and he says, you're not lame, you're amazing. And he repeats it to him multiple times. And he said, thanks, I guess I think I really needed to hear that. And I think that's so, it was such a quick but touching moment. Obviously that's a call out to the title of his series of Spider-Man with The Amazing Spider-Man, but I just really liked that. I thought it was nice because I think we're all sometimes really harsh on ourselves about stuff, and we're like, well, dang, I'm like really lame compared to that person. But in reality, you're definitely not. It just takes you maybe sometimes seeing it from somebody else's perspective to realize, hey, you know, you're doing all right, you're doing good. I thought that was really great. I liked that a lot. Moving on from there, the fact that they learned they needed to work as a team, obviously, because the other two hadn't had that experience. They're always kind of on their own. They don't have any help. They've never had the Avengers. You know, Tom's Spider-Man has always had backup. You know, Tony, Happy, he's always had someone he could call upon, whereas in our previous universes, they have not had anybody that they can call upon. It's left all on them and their shoulders. So I thought that was very good. The fact that they called themselves Peter 1, 2, and 3 was also a touching callback. And my battery is flashing again, so I'm gonna have to take a quick pause. And we're back. Sorry for all my technical difficulties tonight, guys. Yeah, I love the fact that they work together. I love the fact that, you know, Andrew talks to Max and tells him that he was never a nobody, he was always a somebody, and that's, you know, a callback to his film, that even though he thought that he was always, you know, kind of not cool or not seen, like, he saw him. And I liked that reference as well. I loved Toby, obviously the whole thing where they stopped. Well, let's back it up a bit here. Obviously when they're on the sling ring and they come out because they can't close the portal with the little cube, and the fact that MJ ends up falling and Andrew catches her, which is obviously his redemption arc, as lots of people have been calling it. For Gwen Stacy, everyone kind of accurately predicted that that's what he was going to be doing, is saving Michelle from the same fate as Gwen. And the fact that he gets big tears in his eyes and says, oh my gosh, you're okay. I think that was really touching. I loved that. I thought it was a beautiful moment. The fact that, you know, at the when Tom is fighting Green Goblin and he wants so badly to just end him, and he gets so close, and Toby kind of steps in and is like, you don't actually want to do that, and kind of prevents him from crossing over that line. I thought that was really good because they've all been there before, and having the courage to pull back right before you do something that you're inevitably going to regret in that moment. Obviously, Toby making a joke after Green Goblin stabs him that it's not his first time being stabbed was a very funny call out. Yeah, there were a lot, and I'm sure that I'm going to miss some moments in here because it's only my first time seeing it. Maybe I'll do a secondary review after. But yeah, I really love the fact that there were call outs to those films, like Otto talking to Toby and being like, oh, you've all grown up. And I think that was nice to see, right? As Spider-Man fans, we've all grown up with all of them, so it's just, it was nice. It was very touching. Moving on from there, when they all hugged, I about pretty much lost it. There were several times in this movie that I lost it. That was one of them, when they were all hugging each other. And obviously Peter making the ultimate sacrifice and realizing that he needed to go back and fix it so that nobody remembered who he was, which is very difficult for MCU Peter because he has always had kind of a lifeline to whether it's Ned or MJ or the Avengers or Happy or Doctor Strange, obviously in this case. So it's really him starting from the ground up and where he's going to go from here. Sending all of them back, you know, kind of doing his best and his part, and seeing Tom and Andrew just standing there like next to each other was just kind of a surreal moment to watch all of that unfold on screen. It was pretty much everything I could have ever hoped for in a Spider-Man movie, to be honest. Yeah, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking of it, actually. And then when they finally, you know, kind of fade away and Tom kind of goes about, like, you know, swings away after he says goodbye to Ned and MJ, and then he's gonna come find them and talk to them. I do like the fact that they had him go and try to find her and talk to her, and he stops himself because he wonders if maybe her life is better off without him, which we have seen the struggles that Andrew's Peter and Toby's Peter have gone through as well with Mary Jane versus Gwen. So it will be interesting to see how they develop the next 3 Spider-Man films with Tom and how they go about that. I also do love that we now have a crappy apartment because Spider-Man is not complete without a crappy apartment. It is one of my favorite things about him. Obviously it stays true to the video games as well because he always gets kicked out, but he always finds a way, finds a couch or finds something. But I do love that a lot. I think it's a really good characteristic, and the fact that Tom is kind of starting from scratch. Obviously there was a call out there with his GED, so he's chosen to not go back to school, which kind of makes sense for the most part. I like the little scanners that kind of reminded me of Andrew, the fact that he has the scanners on his phone. Toby had something, obviously he had similarities between that, but it really reminded me of Andrew in that moment and what he used to do when he was looking for stuff, for, you know, basically crime, whatever, what have you. Yeah, I think this is a really good film. I know that I've probably missed talking about some really important parts that maybe you guys are like, oh, you missed that. If I did, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys loved about this film. But before we end here, let's talk about the 2, obviously, cutscenes. The first one, obviously, being a call out to Eddie, so Venom. So he's coming to New York, so big thumbs up there. That is awesome. Cannot wait for that. And then obviously we got the preview for Multiverse of Madness and Doctor Strange, which is a call out directly to What If, and obviously Wanda with WandaVision. So I'm really pumped to see where we go from here, guys. I think it is probably one of my top 5 superhero movies now, if not #1. It's gonna be hard to beat though, because TASM 1 and TASM 2 are like my top 2. So, but I think that's about all I'm gonna cover today on it. If you guys have anything else you wanna talk about, or you just wanna talk about it with me, please just make sure that you're polite in the comments. Obviously, some people haven't seen this, and I will put spoiler warnings all over this video, but stay happy, stay healthy. Please go see the movie. Go see it multiple times. It deserves all the hype and love, and I hope you guys loved it just as much as I did. And yeah, I hope you have a good night, a good day, whatever time you were watching this video. I hope you have a good one. Thanks, guys, and see you real soon. And remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Night, guys. Well, night for me. You know what I mean, though.